This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning to you. It is Friday, and first of all, I am back. There we go. Hello, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Thanks for watching First Alert Weather Breakdown here on KSLA News 12. I'm back. I haven't been back since last Friday. I'm gonna admit, had a nice vacation. I'll just put it at that. Was down, thankfully, enjoying some company of some friends and family for the new year, and now we're back here just for a. I got enough rested up. I got myself rested up enough to have a nice 1-day work week. That'll be great. We'll be back. We'll talk about this later, but we'll be back for a full week of episodes heading into next week. Everything will be going back to normal heading into next work week. Speaking of next work week, we got a lot going on temperature-wise, weather-wise. Lots of changes in store in this forecast here for you on this First Alert Weather Breakdown. So let's get into it. So we're talking, first of all, about the forecast. We'll go extended into that because, again, we have a lot of interesting, I wouldn't say viewpoints, interesting headlines happening in the weather. Today is honestly kind of a mild, sunny day, but if you look into the long term, we have a KSLA First Alert Weather Day coming. We also have our coldest air of the year ahead of us as well next week. And the question mark, the big question mark on everybody's mind, I've seen so much of this on social media as well. Will we get snow or not? That is a possibility. I'll leave it at that. We'll talk more into it coming up on First Alert Weather Breakdown. Just, that question, the question timing-wise of whether or not it snows, that's going to be mainly for late next week. That's not happening anytime soon. So we still have time to figure out and see exactly what the heck happens. But we'll dive into what we're thinking here all in our local forecast. Lots to get to there. And then for our exclusive content here for today, we have John Phelan with Caddo Parish Fire District 4. I forgot to put the 4 at the end of that little rundown there. But yeah, we're going to be talking about fire safety, how to keep your home fire safe and ready, especially for the winter season, because I know some of you try to heat it up in certain manners, and some of those manners, let's just say, aren't the most recommended. Yeah, we'll have more tips from John here as he's nodding his head about that as well. Coming up after the commercial break, which will be after this local forecast. So let's get straight into it. Beautiful look outside. Window World camera in Texarkana. I hope you're having a fantastic day again for today as we go along here, heading into your Window World camera. Let me get rid of that. There we go. So, beautiful look again, blue skies and sunshine. A nice, pristine lookout on the horizon. I love this camera. It makes you feel like you're out in the little neck of the wilderness. Whoops, that is the wrong thing to do. Anyways, all right, temperatures here so far today. The main headline, at least for today alone, is we have slightly warmer temperatures. I mean, these are the temperatures already by 10:30 this morning. It was a little chilly this morning, I will say. But we've quickly warmed up thanks to some sunshine around. It's already 60 in Natchitoches, 57 in Shreveport, 53 for Texarkana, 57 Bienville, 57 also in Longview, 61 for Natchitoches. Temperatures rising just slightly here for the day today before actually cooling down a little bit here for tomorrow, leading into stormy skies and for Sunday. But for today, again, it's warm sunshine. For tomorrow, we're all talking about the storms coming on Sunday. Sunday is a KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Day. Want to make sure you're first alert and weather aware with us during the day on Sunday as we have the potential for some severe storms rolling on through. Now, when it comes to the aspect of these storms itself, we're watching mainly out for isolated tornadoes. There is a small chance of that. And most of all, strong wind gusts. These are going to be strong wind gusts that are also going to be pushing in bitter, cold temperatures next week. These are definitely the coldest temperatures we have seen so far this season coming next week. It all starts on Monday morning. So don't forget on the way out to work, the first full work week next week, that you're going to need not just a heavy coat, you're going to need something on top of the heavy coat. It is going to be embarrassingly cold around here heading into next work week. All right, so let's see the setup here. Heading into Sunday, there's a cold front on our doorstep. That's giving us our KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Day here for your Sunday. But this map basically just shows the bitter cold temperatures, not just attacking the Arklatex, but pretty much anywhere around here regionally. We are all hanging around with this Arctic cold blast that is just rushing on here. Again, that all starts Monday morning, and this is going to be an issue throughout most of next week. We're going to get to that instead in the 7-day forecast. But what becomes before that cold rush is going to be the rain, showers, and storms that's going to attack us here on this future track. Starting with today again, nice and sunny. We barely even have any cloud cover around here for the rest of your Friday. Then as we head on into Saturday, there is a stray chance of a shower possible, especially in the afternoon. You see those tiny little green specks. If anything hits, expected to be very, very light. Maybe just a drizzle, but overall it's kind of a little bit of a gloomy day, yes, with a good amount of cloud cover around here for your Saturday, but I think we should be mostly dry throughout the bulk of the day tomorrow. Then you get into Friday. You can already tell by the end of Saturday, heading into the overnight hours, that we'll probably group up a couple more light rain showers into the northern half of the Arklatex then, and then we're going to start to find more light rain kind of sprinkled around most of East Texas starting early Sunday morning. And then watch out for the formation of these severe lines, which really looks like around 10 a.m., starting around Mount Pleasant and into southwestern Arkansas. And then some of these cells will start to develop a lot more around eastern Texas. Pretty much right in our eastern Texas counties is when they'll really start to form, become a lot more severe right around lunchtime on Sunday, right around noon. Then you'll see a good amount of these cells continue to mature, maybe gain themselves a little more in strength as we turn into the afternoon. Around 2, 3 o'clock, they're rolling through Natchitoches. And then hopefully by 4, it looks like 4 or 5 o'clock, we should be done with this system. And that welcomes back in the sunshine, which will carry us at least into Monday. But immediately behind that front of rain is going to come some very cold temperatures that you're going to have to watch out for. Just how cold? Well, first of all, let's stress out just how quick this temperature change is going to be. We'll have highs on Sunday in the mid-60s. Yes, mid-60s. And then watch the cold air rush in. Again, this starts pretty much Sunday afternoon, and it's really going to hit, especially when the sun comes down on Sunday. And when you wake up on Monday morning, your eyes do not deceive you. That feels like temperatures in the teens. The teens on Monday morning. 17 in Shreveport. I mean, we could get as low as it feels like temperature of 12 in DeQueen and Texarkana. So, yes, you want to make sure your first alert, not just about the first alert weather day, which will bring the aspect, obviously, of severe weather, but, boy, be prepared for a bitter cold start to the work week next work week. And keep in mind, these temperatures pretty much stand still for the most part all the way through next work week. This is something that's not just going to leave us after a day or two. It is going to hang around, unfortunately, for most of next work week. At least for the weekend, our temperatures still do stay pretty mild. Again, the big cool down hits first thing on Monday. So at least for the weekend, it stays pretty mild. We have temperatures around 55 for Saturday, up to, again, the mid-60s here for Sunday. And we're watching and staying first alert again about our first alert weather day for your Sunday after a mostly dry day Saturday, even with the cloud cover around. Today, though, sunny, 63 degrees. Can't complain, at least for today. There's a little more reasons to complain, obviously, for the weekend, especially with the rain coming on for Sunday. Again, stay weather aware with our KSLA first alert weather day in throughout the day on Sunday. Then you turn into next week. Not only do we have lows getting down to the 20s, feels like temperatures into the teens. Again, starting Monday morning, but look at those lows. Still at 28 waking up through Thursday morning. High temperatures as well. Pretty much going to be stuck in the lower 40s as well. And then if you notice, eventually we have another chance of precipitation coming in late next week, starting on Thursday, and could hit us on to Friday as well. And yes, that does bring a chance of snow with it as well. Wintry mix, if you call it. So we'll have a round of precipitation coming again Thursday into next Friday. And I know everybody's wondering the big question, will it snow actually? And for me, I'll say maybe, because weather models have been teeter-tottering around and playing around with the idea of, well, we'll have snow I guess, on this model at this time, and then the next model that comes out, for example, the most recent one, in fact, shows mostly rain, unfortunately for the Arklatex. I wouldn't say unfortunately, but fortunately for the Arklatex, for Thursday and Friday. For me, it kind of just depends on the timing of the system actually coming on through and just how cold is the temperature going to be. Is it just going to be really cold rain, or will it actually be cold enough to support the little chance of snow? We'll see. We'll keep you first alert. I personally think we're going to get the best idea of answering that so-called question first thing next week, heading into Monday and Tuesday. In fact, Monday, I'm actually going to use pretty much all my episode to essentially talk about and answer that question, will it snow or not? And we'll see, and we'll get a better alignment, and also, since we're closer to the day, we'll get tons more of a better idea of, again, will it actually snow or not? So, yeah, stay first alert with us. Regardless, we still got our round of storms again to come through on Sunday, and then we also are going to be dealing with bitter cold next week, rain or snow, pretty much. So be on the watch out for that. All right, let's look at your local forecast. Coming up, we have John sitting in a chair across from me. We're going to be back in 2 minutes. I'm going to take a drink of water, and he'll be prepped up and ready to go, and we'll talk about fire safety, things you need to know to keep you and your house safe during this winter season, especially cold winter season. Next week. Oh, man. We'll get through it. Anyways, we'll have some tips coming up for you after this. All right, welcome back to KSLA News 12 First Alert with a breakdown. Hi, John. This is John Phelan with the Caddo Parish Fire District 4. First of all, how are you doing today?
Fantastic. Ready for this weather next week.
You're ready.
Yes, sir.
You think,
As much as I can be. You know, we're gonna give it a go, see what we can do. But
yeah, absolutely. Man, but especially I know you were kind of. Just intrigued with how low the temperatures are going to get next week with the teens. So obviously, you and your team are prepping up for the cold winter months. I know we've already seen and had our fair share, I guess, of bitter cold temperatures, and just some people doing some not so great things, I guess. Just not staying as safe as they could be in their home. So we want to come to you with some of the tips that we need to know about how to keep ourselves safe, especially during the winter months, especially with the coldest air on the way next week.
well, thank you again for having us on. Man, we appreciate it. But the first step in our whole process, you know, we're here to respond when someone calls 911. But anything we can do to prevent that in the first place, you know, that's what we're trying to do with getting this information out. But with the weather dropping, the temperature dropping so quick and so low, we start running into issues this time of the year with non-traditional methods of heating homes, and people just trying to make do with what they have. We have issues with extension cords. It's a big thing we run into problems with. People running space heaters, which are a high wattage. It's basically a controlled short. So, I mean, they need to have a good source of power. But when you run a 50, 100-foot extension cord that's plugged into multiple wall outlets with the power strips that are plugged into other things for other space heaters, we start running into issues with the lines getting overheated and catching fire. So making sure that people adhere to the manufacturer's recommendations when it comes to placement of a space heater, making sure it's away from any kind of piles of loose clothes, trash, away from blinds that are hanging down, anything along those lines, anything that can catch on fire. Keep it at least 3-4 foot away, and use it as it's recommended. Most of the time, they recommend do not run those off of an extension cord unless you have a properly rated extension cord. We also run into issues with people with fireplaces, making sure ahead of time their fireplace is clean. There's a lot of buildup that gets on the inside of the chimney, and all that is just unburnt fuel, which can catch on fire. And we have a lot of chimney fires around this time of the year. So making sure that people have the proper maintenance on their chimneys is a big to do. And then with that comes the discarding of hot coals. So we've had several incidents over the years where people will take those coals that they think are out, and they'll throw them in a plastic trash barrel in their garage. And then their house is really, really warm because it's on fire at that point. It doesn't take very much for those to spontaneously combust that little bit of heat that's built in them. But throw that with some paper products inside of a trash barrel, and next thing you know, their smoke alarms are going off and their house on fire, and they're dealing with a whole nother issue.
Yikes.
So we like people just to be aware when it comes to sources of heat. Not putting next to flammable materials. Which is a big deal for us. And then, of course, the typical getting out there and just making sure your pipes are protected, the outdoor faucets, making sure that they're covered and sealed up. A lot of the home improvement stores around here, even Walmart, they have those little foam caps that go over your spigots on the outdoor.
Just rotate around the whole
thing.
thing?
Yeah, like a little styrofoam igloo kind of
Gotcha.
thing that goes over there just to keep your pipes from bursting, because a burst pipe in a wall also runs along where your power line, the electric in your house, outlets, water, electricity, makes for a tough day for a homeowner. So just trying to making sure you're up on maintenance and being aware of recommendations for any kind of product that's going to be used for heating in your home.
Gotcha.
So another thing we run into every once in a while is when the non-traditional heating side is people using their natural gas stoves. We'll walk into a house, it'll be 90 degrees,
wow.
It just burning up, and you'll see over and they have a space heater going, they'll have an electric fireplace going, and then they'll have 4 wide open burners on their gas stove, just trying to get stuff to warm up and to stay warm as much as they can. And that's just not something that's recommended. Your stove and your vent hood are only rated for so much, can only help get rid of so much heat and the byproducts of combustion. And when you have 4 of those going for 10, 12, 14 hours in a row, it's just not it's not very safe.
It is. I know one of the things that comes to mind as well that I think I might have been guilty of myself is mixing up especially space heaters and extension cords.
Right.
I don't think you need to or can combine the two of those together, especially with how much power does a space heater take sometimes.
Some of them, the lower side, the smaller ones, the little portable ones are 800, 1,000 watts. They go up to 22, 2,300, 2,500 watts, which is it's a lot. It's a big drain. Most of your residential outlets are rated at 15 amps. Some are up to 20. And if you're rigging some stuff to try to force the power to work, that's putting a strain on your lines that are in the wall, and that's what causes the heat to build up, and then it's only a matter of time before it'll ignite. Especially with some of the old Highland houses around here, with the older wiring. There's still some houses that aren't up to current code. They have cotton jacketed old school electrical wires, which were very prone to catching on fire if they're overloaded, or the houses with the old fuses, the round fuses, not the circuit breakers. Those run into issues. But definitely just read the instructions really quick on the box. When you buy a space heater, just see what the recommended distance is from different objects, and then cords. Now there are some extension cords if you get into the higher end that'll hold a larger load, but you're going to spend some money. It's not the the tiny little brown extension cord that you had that was powering
Yeah.
the little Christmas candle in your window. You can't run a space heater off of that because it's just it's a totally different ball game.
I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha, man. Obviously, again, this has been winter's been ongoing. We've had a number of cold streaks. Not as cold as what I say. What is coming up? I mentioned that in my forecast. But still, what have you seen so far this winter? I guess example wise of what you've seen people doing. I know you've mentioned a couple of examples, but do you have anything specific that comes to mind?
With it's not exactly yet this year. Last year we had an issue when there was a cold snap, and some of the issues we have with the rain and stuff when it builds up on the lines. We have trees fall down, falling power lines. People their power goes out, and I've been doing this for about 22 years now, and I've only had one actual call where a carbon monoxide detector. And funny part about this was a carbon monoxide detector that the family had. It was starting to make a chirp because the battery was going dead. So they stuck it in a drawer in the front of their house, and they hadn't heard from it. And that day when we got called, it was going off, and their house was without power, and they were wondering what the deal was. So they called us out to just check and see if there was something to it.
Yeah.
And when we got in there, they actually had carbon monoxide present in their house, which is known as the silent killer. It's odorless, tasteless. It takes the place of oxygen in your blood, as a much higher rate to get on your red blood cells, so it bumps it off, and you can go out pretty quick. But they had a generator outside of their home, which is the safe place to have it, but they had the exhaust facing towards the back door, which was slightly cracked because they have extension cords coming through. So that's all it took, was just a little bit of that to build up, and fortunately they were all safe, so they didn't have any symptoms. That when it comes to that, you're looking for nausea, altered level of consciousness to get out of it. But they were good. But there's things like that are preventable just by once again reading the safety guidelines for any kind of device like that. But we've also had there's a story, I won't say any names, but we've had a firefighter. So it happens to all of us. I said, we talked about this before, so I wasn't going to tell it, but it's a good story because it can happen, and he'll know who he is. He's going to kill me for telling the story. But the hot coals, when you scoop out your fireplace, you may think that they're not hot enough to burn, to reignite. But
I was just going to say, especially in a bitter cold and dry environment as well.
Right. You think you'd be good, but all it takes is a little bit of wind to come across, and it just adds to that to those coals. It flares them up. Well, he puts them where he always puts them in his backyard, what he thought was a safe spot. And then next thing he knows, he sees smoke in his backyard, and fire department showing up because his fence is on fire. So it happens to the best of us. I mean, it's one of those things where it can happen if you're not thinking about it. You're worried about so many other things with the cold and driving and making sure your family stays warm. So just being aware, being alert. Like you guys always say, being first alert. So it's one of those things where you just got to be on top of it, because it's just so quick. In a night, you go to sleep thinking everything's good. You wake up, your smoke detector's going off, your house is on fire. Or even worse, you don't have your smoke detectors working or don't have them present. So you'll never know if it happened. So a lot of local fire departments do have a program set up to help people that aren't able to afford their own fire extinguishers. So contact your local fire district and see what kind of programs they have in place.
Interesting.
I know Shreveport Fire is really big on that. They've done several campaigns when it comes to smoke detectors and making sure there's one in every home. And then with the elderly people that we see in our district that can't reach up to change out their batteries, we've gone out. They just say, hey, we just need help. This ceiling's 10 foot tall, and I'm 90 years old. Like, ma'am, it's fine. Just please stay off the ladder. I'll take care of it. He needs a broken hip, but we'll get up there, and we'll that's what we're here for. We're here in case of an emergency, but we'd much rather prevent it. And what we're here doing today, trying to make sure that people get that info, so it never gets to that.
Gotcha. See what you mean. Cool. Well, I think that's just about everything. I'm just checking over everything.
Just check my list, make sure.
Check your list.
Yep, make sure.
I think one of everything.
So with fireplaces, making sure that having a screen in front of them is a big thing. You get some of this firewood. We've had issues with some of the stuff from Lowe's and Home Depot. It's great, but it has a little bit of moisture in it. It'll cause that steam and pop, and it'll shoot out a piece of an ember out of the fireplace. And we've had some burn spots on our own carpet.
Oh, wow.
So needless to say, we have a screen in front of our fireplace now that we use. And then a fire escape plan is one thing to practice, whether it be cold, hot, any time of the year. Just knowing if something were to happen, your kids know where to go.
Yep.
Do what you got to do. Get out, meet up here. That way, when we arrive on scene, we can go to that family members outside, and you can say, hey, my family's accounted for. We all met up outside.
Yep.
We had a fire plan, and it worked. So always time to practice is before, not during the emergency.
Yeah, that's good. Especially, again, for this coming week. Again, probably, if not the coldest part of the season, honestly, coming up here for next week. So take some time to bundle yourself up. Also, make sure everything is good to go, probably now, before the actual cold rolls in, and then you got to kind of scramble, be like, oh, I gotta keep this warm real quick. I gotta keep my family warm. I gotta bundle up. Another thing is also probably turning on your car beforehand.
Right. We've had those issues out here. If your garages are typically designed for you to pull your car in, so the exhaust is facing
I was going to ask that, yeah.
That's a thing when people, it's convenient, back it in. It's nice, you just hop in, drive out. But all those carbon monoxide, all those fumes are all trapped on the back part, and typically that's where your door is to enter into your home. So there have been cases in Shreveport and around the area where people have gotten in there and they go out and that exhaust is blown into their house, and people start getting the carbon monoxide poisoning. So just being aware. That's the biggest thing, is just being aware of what you're doing, and then just being alert about your the capabilities and the restrictions of the equipment that you're using to keep yourself warm.
Well, I wish best of luck, y'all, moving forward. I know you're going to be bundled up next week. So, yeah, we'll stay first alert about that. Thanks for the tips again on the show on First Alert Weather Breakdown. Thanks for visiting. You got anything else?
No, just snow or rain. We're not sure what's coming. You guys are doing the best you can, but it is going to be cold next week. So take this time where it's going to be warm these next few days and just get ready.
Cool. Thank you very much, John. We'll be back on the First Alert Weather Breakdown after a quick break. We'll be back after this. Thanks.
Thanks, Evan.
All right, welcome back. First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. Again, thanks to John for giving us some really cool tips here for next week. Again, I will say I am guilty of putting a space heater into an extension cord as well. I've been guilty of that, and that's great to know. I always kind of not really as much aware of, say, how much power and how it can actually take, because I'm just used to plugging something in and then just hoping it works. It usually works all the time. But anyways, thanks to John for coming in. Again, next week, starting first thing Monday morning, that's when the cold snap hits next week. So you want to make sure you're weather aware and Stay weather aware with us again on Sunday. Sunday is the severe storms rolling on through. Then the cold rush falls right immediately behind that. Some of that will start it'll start cooling down really quickly on Sunday night. That's what's going to start heading into next week. Again, lows down into the 20s every single morning, and high temperatures only reaching the lower 40s. So be on the watch out for that. We'll have plenty of coverage on that, including, again, as I mentioned, that tail end of the 7-day forecast, that tiny possibility of snow. I know everybody's confused about it. Guess what? Even I have a giant question mark on it right now. And if I have a giant question mark on it right now, there's no reason anyone should be having a certainty about it's going to rain, it's going to snow. I don't know. Again, I think we'll get a better chance to exactly see and evaluate what's going to happen on Monday. Speaking of Monday again, that's when we'll have our next First Alert Weather Breakdown podcast. So guess what? Our exclusive content is... Oh, wrong thing. Sorry. Guess what our exclusive content is for next week? Specifically on Monday. It is talking about will it snow or not. And again, on Monday, we'll look at that for that snow possibility on Thursday or Friday. That's the 2 days it could possibly happen of next week, Thursday and Friday. So we still have a week away. And even on Monday, we'll still have 3 to 4 days heads up to see if it will or not. So again, that's our exclusive content for Monday. We'll be back for a week full of episodes next week, not just Tuesday and Friday. I know we had only 2 episodes this week, but guess what? If you have a topic you want us to discuss on the Weather Breakdown, weatherbreakdown@ksla.com. You can message us on Facebook as well. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. That's where you can message me personally. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, we'll have episodes Monday through Friday as we normally do. That will be back. All 5 episodes per week. It's going to be great. It's going to be glorious. Finally back next week. I know we only had 2 episodes this week. CJ did an episode on Tuesday, and this was my only day in this week. But again, we made the most of it. Thanks to John for coming on in. What was I thinking of next? Oh, yeah. Weeks full of episodes next week. We'll be talking all about the snow. We'll have Met Chet's coming back for the first time in 3 weeks. That'll be great. CJ will be back on next week with a TikTok Tuesday. That's just some of the things you can look forward to heading into next week. But for now, you have a great rest of your weekend. Stay weather aware with us. Again, heading into the cold stretch next week. And stay first alert, first and foremost, about the storms on Sunday. That's going to be coming through first again during the day on Sunday as we have a KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Day in 2 days on Sunday. Again, you have a great rest of your day. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. 10:30 on Monday. We'll be off the next 2 days. 10:30 on Monday is our next episode. You be there, be square. And most importantly, especially with this cold and storms around, be weather aware. You have a great rest of your day and have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you in a matter of a few days. Peace.